Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Tuesday morning the 7th of October. In this video I want to give an update on the search for Darius MacDougall, the 6-year-old little boy who has been missing since September 21st in the Crow's Nest Pass area of Alberta in Canada. I'm going to go through the entire case. For those who haven't heard of Darius's case, I've been giving little updates in the middle of other videos, and I think it's time to do a full video on Darius, basically everything we know about the case. Let's go. Before we get into Darius's case, can I just ask, if you are not yet subscribed, please do so. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and with your help I can do it. I'm so close. Less than 3,500 subscribers to go. There's nothing in it for me, except when you reach that milestone, YouTube sends you a silver play button plaque for your wall. What's not to love about that? And it's completely free at your end, so it's a win-win. Okay, over to Darius's case. So I'm going to read this article from Global News. I'm going to read some of this article, which gives a really good timeline. And then we're going to look at what the public's doing in the search for Darius now that the area's been opened up and law enforcement have left. So what happened? Darius, 6 years old, has autism, was camping with his family at the Crow's Nest Pass area, quite close to Crow's Nest Pass Falls. These are the coordinates of the last general location. So you can see Crow's Nest Pass Falls here. It concerns me that there's this creek, and it's a wild area. I'll show you some pictures of the area as we go through this. So this is the last general area seen. He was with a bunch of other kids. They gone for a walk and they returned, and Darius wasn't with them, so wandered off somewhere. It's a beautiful place, but a horrible place for a little kid to go missing. So many dangers out in that wilderness. So I'm going to read this. The family of 6-year-old Lethbridge, Alberta boy who went missing on September 21st while on a camping trip in the Crow's Nest Pass area are making a public plea for people travelling in the area to keep an eye out for him, saying the family has not given up hope. In a post on social media, they are also sharing new photos of Darius taken the weekend he went missing, as well as information showing the area where they say he was last seen, located about 4 kilometres south of the Crow's Nest Pass in southwestern Alberta. On Wednesday, after 10 days of searching by nearly 400 search and rescue volunteers from Alberta, British Columbia and Saskatchewan, who found no sign of Darius at all, he has literally vanished without a trace. The search was officially called off and the area was reopened to the public. So good on the people who are from the area who are continuing the search, and there has been some coordination of that search on one of the Facebook groups about Darius. So that's great to see. People using social media for good rather than spreading lots of rumours and drama and things like that. I haven't seen very much of that kind of thing in this case, which is great. It's good to see. The family says when Darius went missing, he was wearing a blue and grey sweater, a Christmas shirt, sweatpants, Paw Patrol shoes, and his hair was cut short. They're asking people to share the photos throughout Canada. Lost his little front teeth. Just 6 years old. Out on his own. So they are asking anyone who is travelling in the area where he disappeared to keep an eye out for evidence of the missing boy, and if they find clues or evidence, not to touch it, but instead call the Crow's Nest Pass RCMP at 403 562 2866. We will not stop until we get answers, say the family. RCMP say that while the ground search has ended, the investigation into the boy's disappearance continues. While there is no evidence of foul play, RCMP said all information and tips will be carefully evaluated and thoroughly investigated. However, RCMP said they are concerned about people going into the area to do their own searches because the terrain is so rugged. Well, yeah, I understand that people want to help, but don't go up there if you're not familiar with the terrain. It was described by searchers as heavily forested with steep alpine areas and numerous rivers, lakes, bogs and other waterways. See, this is why it's so dangerous. Personally, I think he's fallen in water. There is a little news piece here that I'm going to play.
Despite intensive ground, water, and air searches, the search crews have been called off.
Upon having completed a comprehensive and thorough search of the 22 square kilometers surrounding the area where Darius was last seen, he has not been located.
RCMP and Search and Rescue deployed countless resources: drones, dogs, horses, helicopters, forensics, underwater search teams.
22 square kilometers was thoroughly covered during the search for Darius, much of it multiple times. The search extended up to 12 kilometers from where Darius was last seen. The distance traveled by ground search assets inside that 22 square kilometers on field tasks was more than 5,300 kilometers.
And not one shred of evidence of the 6-year-old.
At this point, if Darius is still in the search site, it is our belief that he is no longer alive.
This has been more intensive a search than I've ever seen, and I've reviewed other missing persons files in my career, and I was very reassured by the number of people from SAR Alberta and the RCMP that were willing to always think and think again, challenge our own assumptions, leave nothing to chance.
RCMP maintain they don't suspect anything suspicious.
We've just exhausted all search tactics. There's just nothing else for us to search at this time, but there's nothing to indicate foul play is involved. That being said, we're still investigating. We're still there to take tips, any information that anybody may have to help us with this investigation.
Although search efforts are officially demobilized, RCMP say the investigation will remain open and ongoing, relying on tips from the public.
We need some information, and we're hoping and praying that we will get that information and be able to further this investigation.
Okay, well, vanished without a trace. Absolutely no sign of him, but they're not suspecting foul play. He was with a bunch of kids. I genuinely think Darius just wandered off and the kids didn't notice. You know, maybe wandered off to look at something. He's got turned around. How far could he have gone in that terrain? Well, I don't know. I think he's in water, but that's just me. Darius was camping with his family in the Livingstone public land use zone down Tent Mountain Road. This is 3 kilometres south of the Island Lake Campground and Provincial Recreation Area on Highway 3 between Crow's Nest Pass and Sparwood, BC. The family called authorities late Sunday morning to report Darius missing when he did not return to the campsite after a walk. Crow's Nest Pass RCMP responded and a massive search effort has run night and day since then. Searchers have been sensitive to Darius's neurodiversity. They kept noise and light levels low, played his favourite song in consideration of him having autism. Sounds can serve as an attractant during a search. In this situation, searchers knew the opposite effect was possible and took care not to drive him further away. That's really good. They did that in the search for Sebastian Rogers as well in Tennessee. Played his favourite song, which was Eye of the Tiger in Sebastian's case, because it can draw a kid out. Whereas with an adult, who is lost, they're going to be able to assist in their own rescue by shouting. Even if they're injured and they can't move, they're going to shout, they're going to try to attract the searcher's attention. Not so little kids, and it's not just little kids with autism either. They get scared. They get scared by the noise, by the lights, by the fact that people are shouting for them. They think they're in trouble and they don't realise just what danger they're in. And it's better to come out even though you think you're in trouble than staying hidden. And maybe it's happened in this case. Maybe. Corporal Slaney says that while nothing suggests foul play, RCMP continue investigating all avenues. Okay, I'm going to start here at September 28th. RCMP, Search and Rescue Alberta are changing tactics. RCMP, Search and Rescue Alberta and Victim Family Liaison Officers met with Darius' family this morning, so that's September 28th, to discuss survivability concerns. Slaney says that these concerns stem from the terrain, exposure to the elements and the time that has passed. The survivability is less than 5%. So unfortunately, that conversation was had with the family today, and they understand how we have come to that number. While some tactics are changing, she stresses that the search continues and will until Darius is located. Searchers haven't found any signs of Darius. Any time decisions like this have to be made, and that consideration is taken. There's multiple different factors that go into it. Once they go from rescue to recovery, there's resource issues. There's over 400 searchers out at one point. There's budgeting concerns. Once the survivability assessment is so low, then they can no longer afford those resources. And they just hope that his body will turn up. Someone will find it. Someone will come across it. And it's no longer a rescue, where it's all hands to the deck. There is a major data set of multiple different searches, thousands of searches, so it can be looked at to find data sets that match Darius's profile, compare that to the conditions on the ground, and help make that determination. So on day 8 alone, about 200 personnel are working on the ground today, including approximately 100 search and rescue volunteers. Searchers are working in rough mountainous terrain that includes deadfall, elevation changes, uneven ground, and a number of streams and creeks. Kennedy says searchers remain determined and mental health supports are in place for them. After 10 days, searchers found nothing, no clothing, no footprints, no sign of him at all. We are not scaling back the search, rather we are refocusing, said Gina Slaney. Crews are conducting targeted searches of higher probability areas that have been covered multiple times before. Search and rescue dogs also continue working with tactics adjusted for the assumption that Darius cannot respond. Residents who know the challenging backcountry terrain watched from the sidelines for days before an information sharing centre set up by the municipality of Crow's Nest Pass provided an opportunity to share local knowledge. So they've used thermal drones, helicopters, tracking dogs and specialised software analysing drone footage. Swift and surface water teams cleared all water bodies, and 60 RCMP tactical support group members conducted shoulder-to-shoulder searches. And then on the 1st of October, the Island Lake Campground and public land use area south down Tent Mountain Road are now open. RCMP Superintendent Rick Jane encourages everyone in the area to keep their eyes open. Our victim family liaison officers, in consultation with family members, have developed a plan to ensure the family continues to receive timely updates as the investigation continues. More than 11,000 volunteer hours were provided by trained search and rescue volunteers. The search radius extended up to 12 kilometres from where Darius was last seen. Within that perimeter, they did more than 5,300 kilometres on field tasks. Cadaver dogs have not been engaged with the scene. We've had this situation with Lillian Jack Sullivan from Lansdowne Station in Nova Scotia that cadaver dogs weren't brought in. There's only between 6 and 8 cadaver dogs in the entirety of Canada. They need to sort that out, really. And this is what Adam Kennedy said. During our life cycle, and even after you've died, we give off different scents. The appropriate dogs to the scent that we expect to see on the ground right now from Darius are being used. Once the expectation that the scent is going to change and the cadaver dogs are suitable, they will potentially be engaged. Potentially. Well, look how long it took in Lillian Jack's case. Anyone with information can call Crow's Nest Pass. I'll give you that number again at 403-562-2866. Those wishing to remain anonymous can contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. Online at p3tips.com or by using the P3 Tips app available through the Apple App Store or Google Play. This is the Facebook group that I just want to share some posts from. So these are just maps that give the general area. So there's the coordinates that I've used on Google. Edited photo of where the limestone quarry is with last seen location pinned. This creek valley is one that John Petty thinks Darius might have walked up. The trail is called Sentry Mountain Route. Not sure what the creek is called, but it feeds into Crow's Nest Creek like Ptolemy does. Oh, that's a really nice picture of him. Refuse to lose. That was a good idea. If you're searching, maybe you can use this app. You can record and track where you went. It'll also show all the roads, what the terrain is like, basically a detailed map of the area. Yep, using an app to track your searches is a good idea. This is also true. I want to remind people when searching to be safe. It's a season right now where animals are hungry and stocking up on food for the winter. They are indeed. So please don't search alone. Please don't go into dangerous zones. And if you see signs of bears or wolves, you might want to turn back. We don't need anyone else missing or hurt. And this person who has local knowledge says, I'm a seasonal camper at the campground right behind the mountain. We were closing for the winter the day he went missing. I spend a lot of time wandering the base of the mountain from our side. There are lots of cats and bears in the area last couple of weeks and tons of caves. I wish the season was open to look from the other side. The river runs through the camp. We kayak from Crow's Nest Lake down the river back to camp. It was shallow enough to float the entire way safely. Gates are locked now. If you guys can cross the water at the water treatment plant and go up that way, it could be beneficial, but it's very dangerous terrain with mean fairy residents. If you use Google Earth and zoom in, you can see the most used wildlife trails and which ones lead directly to dens and caves. Urgent drone operator needed. This is yesterday. Here are some pictures of the area. Beautiful, but totally wild. Yep, if you're heading out to search, remember you're going into the animal's home. Be safe, be respectful, be cautious. Keep yourself safe. Don't go trying to be a hero. We don't want anyone else lost or hurt. Oh, interesting. First civilian human remains detection team certified in Saskatchewan. They've been doing this type of work since 1989. Started off with lots of basic obedience training, agility classes, far control commands with sheep, and then training with human exhibits. It could be anything like all the hair from a hairbrush. Every root, every hair has an order of the human being on it. In Alberta, there are midwife groups that provide placental donations, which are very rich in human tissue and blood. We have some ethically sourced human bone, and I'm also always looking for teeth. So Hawk is the dog trained to seek out and communicate to querying when human remains are detected during the search. He has an alert that he makes when he finds something. We work together. Obviously, he's got the sniffer, and then I interpret that and give him commands about where I want him to go. While searching for human remains, it can be mentally challenging and potentially traumatic. Something Querin believes is a vitally important task, especially for families who hope for closure. Exactly. So few cadaver dogs in Canada. It's crazy. Look at this. To our knowledge, no police services in Saskatchewan or Canada currently utilise civilian cadaver dog teams for investigations. While not impossible, their involvement will raise important considerations, including verifying the training capabilities, as well as safeguarding the well-being of civilians. Well, all the more reason for the police to actually invest in cadaver dogs. We've had this conversation, haven't we, recently, in the Lillian Jack case. So somebody's been searching the rubble in the quarry. Volunteers have been scouring Old Road, many creeks, log jams, root balls, banks, anywhere and everything. Walked for and searched as hard as possible. Didn't find any disturbances on the ground, no signs of him. Some overturned rocks and stumps pulled apart, suggesting a bear was foraging. Plan to search again tomorrow. Don't have an idea of where yet. It's just mind-bending how wild this place is. So please be careful if you're in the area out searching. Hopefully somebody finds some evidence that will lead them in the direction that Darius went in, and hopefully he can be brought home. So sad. Alright guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.